Hi girls, welcome to our Vocab Unit 15 video, last video of the year. Woohoo! So go ahead and take notes in the vocab section of your writing notebook. Again, you want to write down any words or definitions that are useful for you. Our first word is abase. It's a verb and it means to lower in esteem, to degrade, or to humble. So you can abase yourself by embarrassing yourself, or somebody else could abase you by harassing you and forcing you to humble yourself. Actuate is a verb and it means to move to action or impel. So it's to cause something else to happen, to bring it into actuality. So here we've got an angry mob from The Simpsons that's causing action to happen. Avert is a verb also, and it means to turn aside, to turn away, to prevent or avoid. You may know the word aversion, like you could have an aversion to particular foods. This child is actually averting his face in order to avoid eating what looks to be squash or something. Boorish is our next word, and it means rude or unrefined, clumsy. Here we've got a nice example of one sister picking on the other sister and calling her boorish. She's unrefined and clumsy. Our next word, is brunt, and it's a noun, and it means the main impact, force, or burden. So you could take the brunt of a collision. Here, the brunt of the finger is popping the bubble. It's the force or burden that's causing the bubble to collapse. Our next word is combatant. It's a noun. It's a fighter or somebody engaged in fighting. That's easy to remember because this word has the word combat in it, so you can tell that it's about fighting. Our next word is dormant. It's an adjective. It means inactive, in a state of suspension, or sleeping. So bears are dormant during the winter. They hibernate. This student looks to be dormant. She's in a state of suspension from her studies. Dubious is an adjective, and it means causing uncertainty or suspicion, in a doubtful or uncertain state of mind, or hesitant. It's a synonym for the word skeptical, right? When you're not really sure about something. This woman has a very dubious look on her face. Harangue is a verb, and it means to deliver a loud, ranting speech. You may have been harangued by your parents to clean your room, or maybe you've been harangued by a teacher to improve your performance. Maybe you've been harangued by a coach to come to practice on time. Harry is a verb, and it means to make a destructive raid on, to torment or harass. So here this older student is harrying the younger student. He's harassing him in the hallway. Impenitent is an adjective, and it means not feeling remorse or sorrow for errors or offenses. This little girl clearly feels impenitent. Not only is she not sorry for what she's done, she's sticking her tongue out at you. This word I like to remember because penitent, you may know from your religion classes that to give penance is to make up for or feel remorse for something. So if you're impenitent, you're not willing to feel that remorse. You're not willing to feel guilty for your crimes. Nave is a noun, and it's a tricky, unprincipled, or deceitful fellow. It almost always describes a man, and it's somebody who's trying to get away with somebody who's sneaky. Legion is a noun, and it's a large military force, or any large group or number, and it can also be an adjective meaning many or numerous. So here we have a legion of soldiers approaching, a large group of them. Liberality is a noun, and it means generosity, a generous act, breadth of mind or outlook. So it would demonstrate liberality to give money to someone who is poor, as in this image. Plaintiff is our next word, and that's a noun, and it's one who begins a lawsuit. It's somebody who complains against somebody else. That's how I like to remember it, because it has that word plain in it, like complaint. Probe is a verb, and it's to examine or investigate thoroughly. It can also be an investigation as a noun, or as a noun it could be a device used to explore or examine. So here are some probes that a dentist might use. Protract is a verb, and it means to draw out or lengthen in space or time. So here we've got an example of somebody protracting his chin versus retracting his chin, bringing it back in. Quarry is a verb, and it means to cut or take from. A quarry, which is a place from which stone is taken, or it can be a noun meaning something that is hunted or pursued. So here we've got an example of quarrying, taking stones out of a quarry, right? So digging for minerals. But we could also call a quarry like a deer that is being hunted or something that you're hunting for. Our next word is spurn, which is a verb, and it means to refuse with scorn or disdain. So this girl is clearly spurning the advances of her suitor. And our final word is subterfuge, a noun, and it means an excuse or trick for escaping or hiding something. So it's when you're trying to get away with something, you would be engaged in subterfuge. All right, we did it. That's all of our vocab for this year. I look forward to seeing your notes next time. Thanks, girls.